Do you ever get a strange feeling about someone you just met to the point that it makes you feel uncomfortable? Should you listen to that gut feeling or just let it go? In this video, I will be sharing a disturbing story that may keep you up at night. This is After Dark. Brujeria, witchcraft, has been around for a very long time and is still to this day practiced in different cultures. But today, I will be sharing a story from Mexico that I found very discomforting. I will be telling this encounter from the daughter's point of view. What I'm about to disclose in this video is said to be based on a true story. After moving into a new neighborhood, my mother had started to get along with our new neighbor, Cecilia. They would spend hours talking to each other about their families and sharing secrets. As they became closer, Cecilia would come over for a cup of coffee and would sometimes bring us food. One day, she gave my mom a big pot of pozole. Hola vecina, le hice una olla de pozole porque recuerdo que usted me dijo que le gustaba mucho. Everyone who knows my mom knows she will never deny a pot of pozole. It's her favorite food. She accepted the nice gesture and took the pot home. That night, my whole family and I had pozole for dinner, and it was delicious. We thought it was so nice of Cecilia to cook for us. Since that night that we had Cecilia's pozole, many weird things started to happen around the house. Our food would always go bad. We would buy groceries, and that same day we noticed fresh fruits and meats would start to smell. We checked to see if the fridge was the problem, but everything was working just fine. My parents have always been good with managing money, but since that night, we have been struggling to pay bills. My dad's car broke down out of nowhere. He took it to many mechanics around town, but everyone would tell him the same thing, that the car was fine. It felt like everything was just working against us, and we couldn't find a way out. My mom started to share her frustrations with Cecilia, and she would always reply with, "Todo va a estar bien, vecina. Solo son pruebas de la vida." We started to notice that every Friday, Cecilia would make my mom pozole to bring home. According to Cecilia, it will make my mom forget about her problems. But I always had a weird gut feeling about Cecilia. Me and my family stopped eating the pozole. My mom, on the other hand, would eat the pozole like there was no tomorrow. Usually, on Sundays, Dad would always cook for us. We were so excited to eat my dad's food, but we all noticed my mom served herself a bowl of Cecilia's pozole. My dad, joking around, took the pozole and replaced it with his food while my mom wasn't looking. My mother snapped at my dad for moving her pozole. We have never seen my mom this angry. We didn't expect her to react like that towards my dad. It was dead silence at the dinner table. No one said a word. We couldn't stop staring at my mom. She was eating her pozole, smiling like nothing happened. My dad started to worry about Mom and mentioned what happened that night to my grandma. After being told about everything that was happening in our lives, my grandma told my dad that maybe someone had done brujeria on our family. She advised him to look for spiritual help. According to what I researched, everything that was happening around the house pointed towards brujeria. At night, we couldn't even sleep. We would always hear footsteps down the hall. We found this older man who took the time to talk to us about witchcraft. He was known for being a healer, a curandero. Deep down, we knew that our problems started that same day we had Cecilia's pozole. After telling him everything that was happening to us, I reached over to give him the container with the pozole. He took a look at the pozole. What he said next paralyzed us. Ese pozole no es pozole, es carne de perro. The meat that was used to make the pozole was dog meat. También se puede ver pedazos de piel de una mujer. He also said he could see that there was pieces of skin from another woman. Your mom is a victim of brujería. The person who did this to my mom is offering her soul to a demon. The brujería was very strong, since my mom has been eating this pozole for weeks now. Once we left the curandero's house, my dad's car started acting weird, and we were both terrified. It was like a dark spirit didn't want us to get home safely. We started to pray, and thankfully, we made it home safe. We arrived and noticed a pot of pozole in the kitchen. We walked around the house looking for my mom, but she wasn't home. My dad walked to their room and said, "Hija, ven. Mira, ahí está tu mamá." I looked out the window and there she was, drinking coffee, sitting outside Cecilia's house. That night, my mom couldn't sleep. She was very scared and would say that she would see a tall man with long horns in the corner of the room. My mom was terrified and we couldn't calm her down. My dad went out to bring the curandero home so he could help us. The curandero asked for us to dress my mom in a white gown and lay her down in her bed. The curandero brought candles and placed them around my mom. He started to do this chant in Spanish. She was vomiting chunks of meat and human hair. It was Cecilia's hair. My mom came back to her regular self. Her eyes no longer looked exhausted, and her skin was no longer bruised. The curandero said that the brujería that was done on my mom almost had her, and that whoever was practicing this brujería knew what they were doing. The last thing he told my dad was that the brujería would come back to whoever made that pozole. He mentioned that many people seek to hurt others with brujería. The easiest way to be a victim of brujería is by consuming the brujería itself. If you're wondering what happened to Cecilia, well, we never confronted her. My mom was just grateful that everything came to an end. We ended up moving houses and started all over. Later on, we found out that Cecilia's son had died in a horrible accident. Her husband ended up killing himself a week later, and it is said she still lives in the same house, alone. Sometimes people have envy over your life and you don't even know it. Also, be cautious and think twice before taking food from someone you don't know that well. You never know what they may be giving you. This is the end of this video. If you enjoyed this type of content, please subscribe Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on my next paranormal story.